We're going to get started with some routing now, our static routing actually. And as I mentioned in the previous video, along with ping and trace route, static and default static routing, they're really going to work the same way in version 6 as they do in version 4. Of course, the syntax is a little bit different. I think we're going to need to sneak a v6 into a command or two there. And I'm going to show you a little bonus here. I'm going to show you a little debug too. And give you a little dad lecture, not duplicate address detection lecture. A good real world lecture as well. So a lot of good stuff in this video. And here's the lab that we're going to use. I just created this loopback on router 3, and anytime that you see a stick just sticking out of a router like this, and it's not going to a switch or another router or anything like that, that's a loopback. And I have created it so we have another interface to work with here in our lab. Notice that I've gone up one in the subnet. So I'm still using 2001.1111.2222, but for that fourth block, which is our subnet ID, I've moved up one subnet, and we're using subnet 0002, which of course with zero compression goes down to 2. So let's see, let's go ahead and get started. On router 3, I've already created the IP version 6 address, and there you see it. You see the difference in the subnet block right there. And I just gave it the first available address there and gave it a /64 prefix. You'll also notice that when I ran show IPv6 route after that, I see 2 entries for that loopback. I see one for the network, and then I see that local route. So there's that local route principal again, and it's going to be a /128, so it's a host route, and since the loopback 0 is the only one there, that's the one that got chosen, the only address on that subnet. So let's go over to router 1 right now then and see what we can see as far as pinging 2001 1 and we might lose that first or second packet on occasion, but once you get to the third one, you know something is wrong. Now I'm sure you have a very good idea as to why we can't ping that other subnet, why we can't ping the loopback on 3. But I want to share a debug with you, a little bonus here, your first version 6 debug, and it's debug IPv6 packet. You know, we had our debug IP packet with version 4, now we've got this version we're going to run with 6. Now we're going to send the ping again, and here's a little extra lecture I want to give you. Now obviously the output is going to be different. This is something we have to get used to, and my students tend to be much more driven than the average CCENT or CCNA candidate, so I don't get anybody that does this, but I'm still going to mention it. You never want to just look at something or an output of a command and say, oh, I've never seen this before, I don't know what this means. You may not know what every single thing in the output means, but there's something there you can use, and what bulldogs do is we say, you know what, I haven't seen this output before, but let me look around and see if I can see what's going on. Because that's the way you're also teaching yourself at the same time. And you know, you see a source and a destination here, and it's pretty much what we expect. But you might have seen on the screen very quickly, it's off screen because there's so much output here, route not found. Hello. Route not found sounds a lot like unroutable from debug IP packet when we ran that in other videos. So that means, or sounds to me like, we do not have a route for that particular destination. And of course we know that we don't. When we run show IPv6 route, there's nothing here that's going to match that. So we need to put something there that's going to match that, and we're going to do that statically first. We're going to do it with a regular static default, a regular static route. First I'm going to run show IPv6 neighbors, and I bet you can guess why, but if not, I'll show you in just a moment. Let's go ahead and start with that static route though, and it is the command IPv6 route. And now we need to put in, you know, what are we trying to reach here? And we're going to put in 111.222.2/64. Now we need to put in either the local exit interface or the next hop IPv6 address. And instead of typing that whole thing in, I'm just going to grab it from the output of show IPv6 neighbors. And that's not just for people who hate to type, because I love to type, always have. But it's just smarter to do it that way because the chances of you mistyping one character are a lot less. Because everybody mistypes sooner or later. So Let's do the paste thing there. And you can see the $ appears here because the command is so long you can't see it all at one time. And we hit enter. I'm going to do a quick save, and then we'll do a show config, and I want you to see that command in all its glory. Then we're going to test it. Because it might look really good, it just might not work. Do 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 do. There we go. Let's do a quick show config, and there she blows. IPv6 route, followed by the destination subnet, and then followed by the next hop IP address. See, before you even started this particular part of the course, that command might have intimidated you. But once you know what's going on, it's the same thing as version 4. The addresses are just different. That's all there is to it. Now let's send that ping. I know you're in there somewhere. There we go. And there it is. And let's run debug IPv6 packet for a ping that works. And a lot of information I grant you here can throw you, oh man, look at all this stuff. But there's really nothing to it. And as long as you don't see a bad message here, excuse me, I can't grab the bar, there we go. So you see originating, and then there's a forwarding going on, so that's always a good thing. And most importantly, you don't see anything here that says unable to route or can't route, something like that. So that is what it looks like when it works, and that's important to know as well. So let's go ahead and do a UAL for that particular route. Now what we're going to do is use a default static route to reach that destination and to see how to configure one, period. And what I will do first is go ahead and remove that previous long command. And all I did there again, history, just go up arrow, down arrow till you get to the command you want. I did Control-A to move to the front of the line, type the word no, and that beats the living heck out of typing all that stuff. So let's use IPv6 route again. And wait till you get a load of this. This is how we write a default static route. That's half of it anyway. That's all you have to type for the destination. And then you just need the next hop IP address and you're done. So I can't copy it from there. I want to make sure I got a clean copy of it. So let me go up here and grab it. There's our next hop. Gonna copy that. Gonna scroll back down past all that debug stuff. Then I'm gonna paste it right there. That's all there is to it. That's your default static route. And again, you do have the option there to put local exit interface. I just like to put next hop IP address. But that's all you need right there, your 2 colons and a /0. And now let's ping over. And there it goes. No problem at all. Now, I don't think I showed you the routing table. I should have taken a look at that with a regular route. But here you can see, here's our static route. And there you go. There's your 2 colons and a /0. And it's going to say via, and there will be a next hop IP address for that because that's the option we used. Great stuff, huh? And the other thing is, note here, though, what we don't have. Did you notice there's no asterisk here for candidate default? That's interesting. With version 6, you don't have that. You're not going to see the asterisk there. It's not in your code. So here, even though this is a default static route, you're not going to see S asterisk. You're just going to see S and then the entry that we put there. And that is all there is to it, really, for static and default static routing. Again, as you've seen, same principles as with version 4. It's just the commands are obviously a little bit different. Plus, we got to play with the debug, which is always fun. So coming up next, take a deep breath because we're going into OSPF version 3, which may not sound like OSPF or IP version 6, but it is. We will start by clearing that up, and then we'll do some good fundamental configs, get you ready for the exam and for future success with IP version 6 on the next video. See you there.